أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب، والحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, we ask Allah to again send His greatest peace and blessings upon Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. We praise Allah for all the blessings He has given us. And the greatest blessing being that He allowed us to be of the ones who remain steadfast, dedicated, and loyal on the path of our Master after the Prophet, the commander of the faithful, the prince of the believers, the protector of the Prophet and his message, Al-Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. We praise Allah for this blessing and every blessing, for without Allah, we would have nothing. Assalamu alaikum, my dear respected scholars, dear respected elders, dear respected brothers and sisters, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before I begin, I'd like all of us to take a brief moment of silence and recite Surah Al-Fatiha for all of the shuhada, our fallen brothers and sisters in Palestine, in Lebanon. Please recite Surah Al-Fatiha, but before it, aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. I also wanted to thank from the bottom of my heart Sheikh Salim, Sayyid Nabi Abidi, Sister Nazira, Brother Ahmed, Sister Sahar, Brother Mehdi, and all of the staff, all of the parents, the entire community here at Rise Academy. Though I'm not from this community, just being here briefly with you today and this evening, I feel like I'm a part of your community now. So thank you for having me, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share in the blessings of the investment in our future. The investment in the hope that is not yet to come, but the hope that is here. When we see our children, whether they're coming up on the stage, seeing them on the video with us, we see them as the living hope amongst us, the children of our awaited Savior, Al-Imam Al-Mahdi, Ajalallahu Ta'ala Farajuh Sharif. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to be with you and sharing in these blessings. Now, my job here tonight, which I take honor and pride in, is very simple. My job here tonight is to remind us of the opportunity that we have, not in giving, but in receiving from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The opportunity that we have tonight in the greatest investment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us, which is in our children. A choice. Many of us in today's age, we find ourselves baffled at the oppression and injustice around the world. And we ask ourselves what to do. What can you and I do to combat the injustice and then bring the ajal of the reappearance of Sahib al-Asr wa zaman? The equation, my dear brothers and sisters, is simple. It's to see the opportunity before us that this generation is the generation of change. This generation is the generation that we will invest in so that the mistakes of the past do not repeat themselves. This is the generation of opportunity. And the place that we live and the society that we live in is no accident whatsoever. You and I need to invest further here. You and I need to continue to ground ourselves here, both physically, intellectually, and spiritually, in the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. For the love of Ahlul Bayt did not come for a single geography. For the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam and awaiting our Imam of our time did not come for a single place, but for all places and all peoples, from all backgrounds and all languages. So when we hear our students reciting in English, God bless them. When we see our students engaging in their tongue here, in the culture here, young and proud and confident in their identity, as Shia Muslims in America, as American Shia Muslims, that is the future. And that is something that you and I should take pride in and invest further in, because it is that will secure our future for generations to come. My dear brothers and sisters, I'm very jet-lagged. Not because I flew from Detroit to San Francisco. I was telling Sheikh Salim earlier, I've had 10 flights in the past 7 days. And I cut my trip in India. I was in Lucknow, India, just 2 days ago. Yesterday, I think. I'm losing track of the days. I cut my trip short, and when they asked me, Hajj, why are you coming for just such a short period of time? I said, one, I'm honored to be here, because I was doing something similar to what I'm doing here, which is fundraising for education and investing in the future of the communities that we belong to. Shia Muslims everywhere, whether it be in Lucknow, India, or San Jose, the Bay Area, California. We need to invest in our children. So I said, the reason why I'm cutting my trip short is because I have a very similar cause, in fact, the same cause, to join hand in hand with my brothers and sisters at Rise Academy and fundraise for our future. So just as I was honored to be in the presence of students and teachers in a beautiful community in Lucknow, India, which I'm going to share a little bit of my experience with you all tonight, I'm honored to be with you all as well. One of the students there that I was interviewing, trying to understand their stories, their life, their experience, what they're going through. And mashallah, you and I, sometimes we may think when we go to places like India and East Africa, we just see poverty and that we have to come into these places and uplift them. No, no, no. Not at all. We see impoverished communities and we think that we're giving them. No, no, they're giving us. One of the students that I was interviewing, her name was Zahra. She said something profound. It was so simple, but it was profound, and it stuck with me. She said, education. Without education, we amount to nothing. Such a simple, profound statement. Without education, we amount to nothing. She was 13 years old. And I couldn't help but see Zahra from Lucknow, India, in the sisters that were coming up here and speaking and reciting. I couldn't help but see that young Minhal, a brother who came from one of the remote villages outside of Lucknow and became the pride of his community by excelling regionally, having an opportunity just because there were some people that believed in him and invested in his education. I couldn't help but seeing him up here with the young brothers that were up here. I couldn't help, as I was walking the halls today with Sheikh Salim, who was an excellent host, even though I was dozing off, jet-lagged again. But he showed me around the school. He showed me the classrooms. I couldn't help but seeing my own children in these classrooms. You see, my dear brothers and sisters, my story and your story are very alike. Though we may be a 5-hour flight apart, we're the same. Who here immigrated to this country? Who here's parents immigrated to this country? Who here's grandparents immigrated to this country? Who here is really hungry? Yeah. I asked, by the way, in the interviews I was doing with the students in Lucknow, I told them, I'm like, I have one very important question for you. The most important question of the day. And they were all very attentive. MashaAllah, their akhlaq, their character, top. So, what's the question? I said, chicken biryani or mutton biryani? That got them good. My dear brothers and sisters, my grandparents came to this country in the late 70s, escaping the civil war in Lebanon. My grandmother would tell me the story, how she would grab her children under her arms, running in the streets of Beirut, under fire, running for their lives. But she was a hero, saving her children, taking them to safety. And where were they going? They were leaving the home to go to the embassy, to go to the airport, and fly to what would become their new home here in the United States of America. When I asked my grandmother, why did you and my grandfather, I call my grandmother Tata or Sittu, and I call my grandfather, may Allah bless his soul, Jiddu. I said, why did you and Jiddu choose Michigan? She told me, well, it was between Michigan and New York. I was like, oh, New York. Why not New York? She said, well, your grandfather was looking at the options, and though there was some good economic opportunities in New York, he chose Michigan because there was a small community growing there. There was a alim there, and there was a center there. And though your grandfather wasn't the most religious man, his religion was an important thing to him. And the identity of his children was extremely important to him. He wanted to make sure that his children, no matter how long he would be in America, because he didn't know how long he would be and if he was going back, he wanted to make sure that their identity was maintained. So he chose Michigan. That center that he was referring to was the Islamic Center of America. I want to show you how an individual decision, one investment, one move can have an impact for generations. My grandfather, who passed away in 2003, immigrated here in 1977. His decision to move to that community that had an Islamic center, that would build a school, would become the school that my children go to. So that my grandfather, 20 plus years removed, to his great-grandchildren, who he's never seen, and whom they never saw him. My daughter Zahra, who's 7 years old, and my son Ali, who's 4 years old, go to that school for that center thanks to him. So I ask you, my dear brothers and sisters, how much is such an investment worth for you? For you to dedicate further and invest further. You may not have children that are going to Rise Academy. You may not have grandchildren that are going to Rise Academy. But perhaps you're that individual that changes the future for other children and other grandchildren, and for great-grandchildren to come. Perhaps your decision here tonight is that decision that will change all of our futures. My dear brothers and sisters, I know dinner is upon us, and I know we're hungry, but they told me there's appetizers on the table, so I should take my time. I'm not going to take too much time, but I want to make sure that the message we have together is clear. And I wanted to say very straightforward, in a very straightforward fashion. You and I, the opportunity here is very clear. We need to invest in our future. Who here, with a show of hands, and don't be shy, who here is planning on investing tonight in Rise Academy and the future of our community? I need to see more hands than that. And these are very shy hands. These are hands that I'm not sure if I'm going to get the thawab or not. What's the return on my investment? Sayyid Abidi made it clear. Maulana Abidi made it clear. You're not looking at 100 times. You're not looking at 1,000 times on an ROI. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala awards without accounting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's reward for you is infinite, my dear brothers and sisters. Remember that here tonight, we're not just looking at a mere giving. We're looking at what is our thawab, and that is infinite, inshallah. Just to encourage all of us, let's get another show of hands, please. For those who want to donate here tonight and support our future here in the community. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Now, for those of you who are not raising your hands, I'm going to ask you a different question. Are you ready? You ready for a different question? Who here loves Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam? Now, some of you, I'm looking at you and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I should raise my hand for that. One more time. Who here loves Imam Ali alayhi salam? Oh, that was weak. Thank you, Brother Mahdi. But your response, MashaAllah. I'm going to say Ya, and you're going to say Ali. Ya? Ali. Ya? Ali. Ya? Ali. I can't hear you. Ya? Ali. Ya? Ali. Ya? Ali. Ya? Ali. It's this identity that I believe wholeheartedly is being maintained and furthered at Rise Academy. And by the way, when we say Ya Ali, it's not just mere emotion and passion. Ya Ali is the protection of one's faith. Ya Ali is the intellect that takes us forward in success in this life and the next. So I have a question for you, my dear brothers and sisters. What is our job here tonight? I mentioned my job, which is to encourage everyone to fundraise and to support the future. But I have a question for you here tonight. What is our job? What is it? I can't hear you. Contribute. Excellent. I'm going to take it a little bit deeper because that's a surface level. And this is arguably the greatest job that we have here in the United States of America and across the world. And that is the education of the young Muslim. That is the education of the young Shi'i. That is the education of the one who is awaiting Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajhu al-Sharif. We have to impress upon the young people in our community The young brothers in the corner over there, mashallah, my young brother gave an excellent speech. I don't know if I can top that. Brother Ali, right? Mashallah. Sayyid Ali. Mashallah. To my sisters, to everyone here, we have to realize, not just abroad, but here in our society, we will face difficult times. You and I will face difficulties. But we have to rise to the occasion and face these difficulties in a very particular manner. Sometimes we think that the difficulties that we face must be approached with the loudness of our voice. But we need to realize that from the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, it's not about the loudness of our voice, but it's in the strength of our intellect. We need to face the difficulties that are before us, not with the sharpness of our tongue, but by the eloquence of our speech. And the only way for us to do this is through education. Education, my dear brothers and sisters, is the only way forward. You and I may be thinking about our businesses, about entrepreneurship, about our careers. We see education as a means to those things. Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam don't. Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam see education and seeking knowledge and this tarbiyah, this raising of a generation, as the end itself. So when we're looking at the difficulties that we're facing and we're wondering, what is our relevance to Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajuhu al-Sharif? It's very simple, my dear brothers and sisters. It's not a passive community that's detached. San Francisco, San Jose, Bay Area. What do I do? Is my religion separate from my daily life? Absolutely not. You and I, manifesting the teachings of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, is in Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, is in our relationships. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam says something beautiful. And I want you all to take this with you here tonight. Who here, by the way, was moved to tears at any point of the program? Any point in the program? MashaAllah. Who here thought that the performances by the students were nothing short of amazing? Let's give them a round of applause. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam says something brilliant, beautiful. He says, is religion anything but love? And is love anything but religion? I want you all to see, and now I'm going to speak directly to the students. I want the students especially to see your religion, your faith, is not merely a foundation, but is a ship. It is a vehicle for you to impress upon the world what true life is about. It is love. It is compassion. It is respect. It is dignity. It is honor. When Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, the father of Imam al-Baqir, tells his companions, "Kunu du'atan lana bi ghayri alsinatikum." People ask, people wonder, what's my role in the society that I play? You want to know what our role is? To be the best. What does that mean? To be the best in our ethics, to be the best in our manners, to be the best in our servant leadership, to be the best in our education. Now, God bless this school for not only graduating 100% of their students, and not only having 100% college and university acceptance rate, but it's something to be proud of, that we are sending our students to the leading universities in this country. Give them another round of applause. Far gone are the days that with an Islamic education you can't compete. Far gone are the days that you have to sacrifice one or the other. Far gone are the days that if you are investing in Islamic school, that means you're giving up on achievement academically. What I'm seeing, what I believe, is that what the community here is doing and what you have an opportunity to do here tonight is invest in the success of our youth in this dunya and the next. Is invest in the success of our community in this life and the next. So who here is going to invest? Who here is going to support? Remember what Sayyid Abidi said. He said, when you're writing that check, you need to have a moment between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the investment worth? The smile that you see upon the face of a child, that child is not only excelling academically and religiously, but that child is safe. That child is cared for. That child is loved. That child is protected. Do you know what I would do to protect my child? I know you would do the same. Anything I could give to make sure that my child is cared for. Anything I could give to make sure that my child, in the moments that I don't have with them, that they are loved. Sister Nazira, thank you so much for sharing that story of that teacher who carried that student on their back. That's one of the moments here tonight when I was moved to tears. Because I remembered my daughter Zahra. And I remembered a particular teacher that had a similar impact on her. Cared for her like she was her own. What I would give for that teacher. There is no amount of money, my dear brothers and sisters. There's no amount of money. There's no donation. Not 50,000, not 100,000, not $1 million. Not $1 million. That's worth more than the safety and security and the confidence of a child. You are doing God's work here on earth with this school. You are doing a service to the community of Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif, in taking care of these children. So to Sister Nazira, Sheikh Salim, Brother Mahdi, Brother Ahmad, Sister Sahar, all of the teachers here tonight. Who here is a teacher or staff member here at Rise Academy? MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Let's give them a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. My dear brothers and sisters, we can't live in the past. We cannot live in the past. We have to take today to define our future. All we have is today. The past is history. We have no control over it anymore. The future is in our hands through the decision that we make today. And the time is now. When are we going to change? When are we going to invest? When are we going to make our presence felt in this society and societies across the world? Today. Today. And it's that investment, it's that decision, no matter how small or large, that will allow us to dictate the future, inshaAllah, with the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshaAllah. For the ta'jeel of al-dhuhur, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now, my dear brothers and sisters, I have some excellent news to share with you all. Many of you raised your hands. God bless you for those hands that you've raised. And may you be able to raise your hands on the day of judgment behind the Imam of our time. That you answered the call of protecting, safeguarding, preserving the identity of our children, the intellect of our children, the hearts of our children, the soul of our community, by raising your hands and committing further to Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, that I'm not just praying for you, Ya Imam, but anything I have, I'm giving for your community, for your children, for your youth. Alhamdulillah, we have with us tonight a dear supporter in the community who has pledged to match up to $75,000. But I believe that here tonight we can raise even more than that. MashaAllah, in this room of individuals that believe in our community, believe in our youth. I'm not just telling you to invest in the infrastructure. I'm not just telling you to invest in the leadership. I'm not just telling you to invest in this amazing team of individuals that you've seen their work. Their work speaks for itself. I'm telling you to invest in the future. And I guarantee you that inshaAllah, God is my witness. And I'm saying this truly out of love in my heart for the followers and the lovers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, you're going to see a generation of leadership in our community where you're no longer going to be questioned, what do we do? We're no longer going to be questioning what's our role in the society. We're no longer going to be questioning if we fit here or not, if we belong here or not. My dear brothers and sisters, the time is now. The time is now. The opportunity is here. So with the supporter, the donor that's committed $75,000, matching, who here wants to contribute in that spirit? I believe there's going to be QR codes that are put up on the screens. There's envelopes that are on the tables. And there's volunteers that are walking around. Now, some of you, my dear brothers and sisters, as you're looking at the tables, the QR codes, there's envelopes in there for pledges as well. I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to say. You ready? You ready? Okay, let's do a presence check. Yeah? 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 Come on. Yeah? Yeah? I'm looking at some of you and you're not saying Ali. That's disappointing. Come on, I'm jet lagged and I'm saying it. Yeah? 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 May you say Ya Ali on the day of judgment and follow Amir al-Mu'mineen into paradise. Yeah? 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 For some of us, we may look at that number, 75,000, like, whoa, that's a large number. Okay? Granted, to some of us it is. To some of us in the audience, it's not. No matter how much you can give, listen carefully. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, There's a short saying attributed to him in Nahj al-Balagha. And I'm paraphrasing here. Do not look at the little that you give, for less than the little that you have is nothing at all. Every single person here tonight, yes, even the students, I want you to take part in and invest in Rise Academy. Even if it's $1. Even if it's $1. I want you to take part in the blessing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you an opportunity here tonight to be grateful, to be thankful, and to give. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. Imagine. Ali, ahsant. Ya? One more time. Ya? 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 MashaAllah. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you are grateful, I will give you more. One of my teachers from the Islamic seminary, he said, when you have an opportunity to give, he gave me a lesson in akhlaq that I'll never forget. He said, when you have an opportunity to give, don't start calculating. Whatever your heart moves you to give, give. Because the investment and the savings and the checkings and the return on the investment, the ROI, all of that in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is Ar-Razzaq. No calculation you're going to make in that moment with the opportunity with God is going to equate what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give you. So if you have an opportunity here tonight and a feeling in your heart tonight to give, no matter how small or how large the amount is, give. Give.